Hello, my name is David Smith. I'm one of the skippers with Halcyon Yachts. We're in the grip of this coronavirus spreading around the world, and still coming to terms with the profound effect it's having on life. The silence of the streets outside, the build up to the peak of infection, and a legacy that will last for years on how we recover from this from a society point of view and economically. We're all confined to our homes, not able to work, and just adjusting to life under confinement. You can only start to wonder what life will be like in Syria and Yemen when this disease visits their country and they don't have the first world health service or facilities to look after people who turn ill. Last night there were 3 young people under the age of 21 who died. This disease is indiscriminate who it attacks, how it attacks, and we're still learning about it. And we're watching governments take unprecedented steps to alleviate hardship in every sense, financial, emotional, and I think all of us, we can pitch in and help somehow and volunteer when the time is right and when the circumstances permit. In the meantime, many of the Halcyon skippers are producing videos about what they're doing. Well, personally, I've seen all my deliveries cancelled, and the countries around us are in lockdown and throughout the world, so yacht deliveries unlikely to happen this side of the summer months, and the workload at Halcyon seems to be still pretty busy, so people will want their yachts moved around the world, and we can do that come the autumn. So how to while away your time? We've got 4 of us living in this house. Fortunately, from my back garden, I can go walking in the hills and get out on a once a day exercise. Gives me time to read and thumbing through the Law of Yachts and Yachting, which is a pretty heavy textbook for the yachting industry with lots of standard form contracts. I'm able to look out some of the tools we use, which is my sextant from the Titanic, White Star Lines, and as Bob Godric and Brian Sage know, I have a special use for a sextant, and that's to hold a door open. Pete Ralphs is probably getting extremely upset because he's an enthusiast of astronavigation, and unfortunately I'm not. One of the things I'm thinking about doing is doing a tutorial on navionics. Navionics contains about the same information as Reed's Almanac on tides, ports, etc. And what I plan to do is, a few quick tips of how to leverage the best out of navionics, particularly navionics for the iPhone. So that's one of my tasks, is to try and guide people through, because navionics never comes with any form of instruction manual, and I think shared experience will probably be of benefit to people who are just setting out with navionics as a tool. So all my oilskins, all my sailing gear safely up in the loft and won't be seeing the light of day until August, probably at the earliest. Maybe, I don't know, we just don't know how long this thing is going to last. The curve that the government put forward weeks ago, we're racing up the up leg of that bell curve, very sharp bell curve, trying to flatten it by practicing social isolation, and so far seems to be working. when they come and write the history books about the effect this plague has had on society, I'm sure we'll start turning over some stones about how we were so ill prepared for something on this scale. But in an ever more connected world, it's going to happen, and it will happen again. How easily we can travel around this planet means that every person that can carry a disease will do so on planes. If this had happened 10, 15 years ago, the internet was still in its relative infancy, and now with particularly older family members getting in tune with Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, Facebook, we can now video conference with a family and check people are okay. I think that hopefully the apps and tools to make contact with people in your local area are in the course of, someone's working on these, because whether it's dropping off groceries or medicine for older people or infirm people, I think all of us would like to pitch in somehow. We will become more resourceful as a race. John Ringrose pointed out all the cruise ships parked outside his apartment in Southampton. I can't think of a better place than 3,000 bed floating hospital that could move to Bristol or London or Glasgow or Edinburgh, this is something which I think we'll get better at looking at the resources which are available and adjusting. Business models will need to change. The gig economy has grown at the worst possible time to leave so many people out on their own. And big shout out to Claire Barrett from the Financial Times. Without champions like Claire to promote the cause of self-employed, things don't change. It needs someone that can be effective, and Claire has done that with aplomb, so well done. So how to spend your time? I think we're all finding we're eating around the table more, we're picking up books more, and if someone's looking for some good recommendations for drama and box sets, number one on my list would be Boardwalk Empire. Nucky Thompson, a real life character from the 1920s in New Jersey, and Steve Buscemi playing the main role, supported by Kelly MacDonald from Trainspotting. Absolutely fantastic series, produced by Martin Scorsese. Just start watching it, you'll enjoy it. My number two would be Succession, which is a satire of the Murdoch family, a media family, dysfunctional family, and 2 seasons, wherever you get your streaming from, look it up. Succession. Brian Cox from Dundee plays the main character. Absolutely a fantastic performance. Slightly, The Wire. If you've never seen The Wire, definitely worth watching. All 5 seasons. It's a top-notch drama. And if you really, really like it, there's a spin-off by David Simon who produced it, and it's set in the first Gulf War, called Generation Kill. Worth a watch. One that slipped through the net for me was Quarry. Story about a soldier returning from the Vietnam War who becomes a hitman. I don't know why it didn't make the ratings in this country. Absolutely fabulous. Watch it if you get a chance. And final recommendation would be Boss, which is Kelsey Grammer, who plays Frasier in Cheers. Boss, there's 2 seasons of Boss. He plays the fictional Chicago mayor, and you will just get drawn right into it. I don't know why it was stopped after 2 seasons, because I thought it would have gone on for longer, but absolutely top-notch drama. You don't need to waste all your time watching box sets, but my goodness, this isolation will last for months, and having some structure to your day. In many respects, the fact that we have become prepared for that through yacht delivery means you're pretty used to your own company for days on end, with a small crew who you're with, and having a bit of respect for the people round about you and their space is important. Often on a yacht, try and discourage, if someone goes forward of the mast, it means they're signifying to the crew they just want a bit of time on their own, and leave them to it. Just let them clear their head, because you're in a confined space, and having a bit of that around your home is important. So how does it? So I manage a holiday home in Aviemore. The bookings have gone off a cliff. The yacht delivery has gone off a cliff, and the only thing that I do in any meaningful way now is I sit in the children's panel. And if you've never heard of that, look it up. Just Google Children's Panel Scotland, and it's a quasi-judicial role where the panel of 3 people makes the most profound decisions on people whose lives are in crisis, and it can range from removing babies at birth from the care of their parents. Problems may be drink, drugs, mental health, domestic violence, right through to dealing with child offending in Scotland. If you offend and you're under the age of 16, apart from the most serious cases which go to the High Court, all other child offending is dealt with through the Children's Panel. Can involve putting a kid in secure accommodation. So it's pretty serious stuff. Because of the government rules, we're moving to virtual panels, and as of next Monday, we join by conference call, and it'll be a bit like conducting a court case over the internet in a secure environment. So that's going to be interesting to see how that works. But in these times of crisis for society generally, the times of crisis for families increases, and children are more vulnerable than ever. And the protective measures which we have in Scotland need to be prepared to adjust and deal with the problems as they arise, because there's a child at the centre of all of that in need of help. So probably not the cheeriest video I've ever done. I've been trying to think about jokes for my colleagues at Halcyon, but I just wanted to kind of do a video log of where we are at today, and just some random thoughts on where we are, and nobody knows where we're going with this. So wishing everybody at Halcyon, crew, skippers, Pete and Minka and Phil, wish you all the best, good health, keep safe. So that's me finishing up.